ॐ हिरण्मयेन पात्रेण सत्यस्यापि हितं मुखं तत्त्वं पूषणपावृणो सत्यधर्माय दृष्टये. I welcome everybody to the Swadhyaya Jnana Yajna program by Academy of Yoga and Oriental Study, Bhubaneswar. This is a lecture series on Gheranda Samhita by Dr. Indulata Das, Director, Academy of Yoga and Oriental Study, Bhubaneswar. I am Indulata Das. This is lecture number 51 of Gheranda Samhita and lecture number 9 of third chapter of Gheranda Samhita. Today we will discuss about Khechari Mudra. First, let us see what is the significance of the name Khechari. Kha means sky, Khe means in the sky. Chari is derived from the root char, which means to move. And therefore Khechari means that which moves in the sky. And in the masculine gender it should have been Khechara, but since it is used in feminine gender, therefore it is Khechari. Why it is used in feminine gender? Because it is the name of a mudra, and the word mudra is in feminine gender, therefore the name has to be in feminine gender also. And both, why it is called Khechari? Because both the tongue and the mind move in the sky or in the void in this mudra. Therefore, it is called Khechari. Let us see what is the description in Hatha Yoga Pradipika about the significance of the name. Because there is no description of the significance of the name in Gheranda Samhita. So let us see Hatha Yoga Pradipika about the significance. Chittang charati khe jasma juha charati khe gata tene sa khechari nama mudra siddhe nirupita. This sloka is found in Hatha Yoga Pradipika, which speaks about the significance of the word Khechari. Why it is called Khechari? The meaning of the sloka is like this: because the mind moves in the void, that means the mind becomes vrittiless, and the tongue inserted also, tongue which is inserted also goes to the sky. Therefore, the mudra is called Khechari. Why the mind becomes vrittiless? Because the goal of every yoga is to make the mind vrittiless. Yoga means samadhi, and samadhi is a state where the mind is either one vritti or it is vrittiless. The highest yoga or highest samadhi is vrittiless. Therefore, when the mind becomes vrittiless, that is the state of samadhi, and by doing Khechari mudra, the mind is taken to a state where it is vrittiless. So like this, it is called Khechari. This is the significance of the word Khechari. Now, why should Khechari be practiced? Why it should be practiced? We have to know about the nectar, the sun, and the moon, which are in the body. In order to know about Khechari mudra, we have to know about these three things. First, moon is situated in the head, and nectar oozes from the moon. It flows gradually to the sun, which is in the navel, and is destroyed there. Human cells decay and die because of this process. Old age and death are ultimate results of this wastage. So there is a nectar, there is a liquid which oozes, which comes out, which flows from the palate, from a place which is situated in the head, and it goes down to the navel area and it is destroyed there. And this destruction is the cause of old age and death, because human cells decay and die by this process. We find description in Hatha Yoga Pradipika about the cause of old age and death like this. There is a sloka. There is 1.5 slokas, in fact. First, about the cause of old age. The sloka is like this: Yatkinchi sravate chandra damrutang divyarupina tatsarvang rasate suryastena pindo jarayutaha. That means whatever nectar the divine moon secretes, it is devoured by the sun. It is eaten by the sun. As a result, the body becomes old. So this is the cause. This is the actual cause of old age. Because when the nectar comes from the head, it is eaten up by the sun. That is the cause of old age. Now, what is the cause of death? Chandra Sara Sravati Vapusas Tena Mrityu Naranam. From the moon, the essence of human body flows, and man dies because of this loss. So, these are the two causes of old age. This is the cause of old age and death. Now, technique of Khechari as described in Gheranda Samhita. How to do Khechari Mudra? रसनां ताल मध्ये तु शनै शनै प्रवेशयत् कपाल कुहरे जिह्वा प्रविष्टा विपरीतगा भ्रुवर मध्ये गता दृष्टिर मुद्रा भवति खेचर. This is Gheranda Samhita. So the yogi should invert his tongue. He has to reverse the tongue and slowly insert it into the hole of the palate. There is a hole there. It has to be inserted into the hole of the palate. Then he should fix his gaze between he should focus his gaze between the eyebrows. Then the mudra named Khechari is accomplished. So when he slowly inserts his inverted tongue into the hole of the palate and he fixes his gaze between the eyebrows, then Khechari mudra is accomplished. Then is the normal tongue sufficient for? Is it capable of practicing? Is it capable for practicing the Khechari mudra? No, normal tongue has to be lengthened. Normal tongue is not capable for Khechari. It has to be lengthened. And how to lengthen the tongue? There are methods to lengthen the tongue. These methods are described in Gheranda Samhita like this. Jivado nading sanchinnang rasanang chale sada dohaya navanitena loha jantrena karshayat. So these are the methods to lengthen the tongue as written in the sloka. Number 1, the practitioner should cut the membrane under the tongue. It should be cut very slowly, very slowly and bit by bit, not in one day, but in a long term. After a long time, the membrane can be cut. The membrane which is under the tongue, that can be cut. After a long time, he has to cut little by little. And he has to move the tongue constantly. Then he has to milk or pull the tongue by rubbing it with butter. Number 3. Then number 4 is pull the tongue with the help of iron tongs. So these are the methods. These are the 4 methods one should practice to lengthen the tongue. Now, what should be the exact length of the tongue so that Khechari can be practiced? The answer is it should be long enough to touch the middle of the eyebrows. When it is brought out of the mouth, it should touch the middle of the eyebrows. Then only the practice of Khechari can be accomplished. The sloka is like this. Ebang nityang samabhyasa lambika dirghatang brajet yavat gachet bhrupar madhye tada gacchati Khechari. That means by practicing regularly, when the tongue is so long as to touch the middle point of the eyebrows, then the tongue is fit for Khechari mudra. So Khechari mudra can be practiced only when the tongue is sufficiently long. Then when the tongue is sufficiently lengthened, it should be inserted into the palate and Khechari should be practiced. Then we should know about the nectar which is oozing from the palate. When the tongue is inserted into the hole of the palate, it comes in contact with the nectar or the liquid which comes from the palate. When the tongue is inserted, the hole, it touches the flow of nectar. The yogi experiences the taste of the nectar. Then, now what is the taste of the nectar? The description is like this in Gheranda Samhita. Adau lavana khyarang cha tatastikta kasayakam navanitang ngrutam khirang dadhi takra madhuni cha drakya rasang cha piyusang jayate rasanodakam. These 2 slokas or 1.5 slokas in Gheranda Samhita. The meaning is like this. First, the taste is salty, then alkaline, then bitter, then astringent, then the taste of butter, then ghee, then the taste of milk, then taste of curd, then taste of whey, then of honey, then grape juice. This is the taste of nectar oozing from the palate. So when all these things are mixed together, this is the taste of the nectar which comes from the palate. Now what are the benefits of khechari? Khechari. The main benefit we have already discussed. These are also some more benefits of khechari mudra. न च मूर्छा न क्षुधा तृषा नैवा लस्यं प्रजायते न च रोग जरा मृत्युर्देव देह सजायते. This is in Gheranda Samhita. This is one shloka. There are more slokas also. So the practitioner has no fainting. The practitioner who practices khechari mudra, he doesn't faint. Na cha mursha, no hunger, no thirst, he is not thirsty, no lethargy, no disease, no old age problem, no death. After death, he is liberated. His body resembles a God's body. So these are some of the benefits which the practitioner gets by practicing khechari mudra. Now there is another sloka also. Nagnina daihate gatrang na sosayati marutah na deham kledayantyapo dangsayana ujangamaha. About the immunity, strong immunity of the body. His body is not burnt by fire. Fire cannot burn it. Not dried by air. Not wetted by water. And it is also not beaten by snake. So his body becomes too strong. Now there is half a shloka. Lavanyang cha bhavet gatre samadhir jayate dhruvam. There is charm in his body. His body has a charm. It becomes very charming. And then the spiritual benefit, samadhi becomes possible. So the goal of yoga is every yoga, hatha yoga. Also in the beginning of hatha yoga pradipika, it is said kevalam raja yogaya hatha vidyopadeshyate. That means raja yoga means samadhi. And here by practicing khechari mudra, samadhi becomes possible. So these are the benefits of khechari mudra. Now comparison with hatha yoga pradipika. First, it is the similarity. Technique is the same. Khechari in the final position. The technique in Gheranda Samhita and in hatha yoga pradipika, the techniques are the same. Kapala kuhare jiva pravishta viparitaga drupar antargata drushtit mudra bhavati khechari. Exactly the same. The tongue is reversed and inserted into the cavity of the palate. Vision is focused between the eyebrows. This is khechari mudra. In the final position, khechari is posed like this. This is exactly the same as Gheranda Samhita. Now we come to the dissimilarities, or which are not found, the facts which are found in hatha yoga pradipika but not found in Gheranda Samhita, or vice versa. Now first exact place to put the tongue, which is not found in Gheranda Samhita but it is written in hatha yoga pradipika. The sloka is like this. Susirang jnana janakam pancha srota samanvitam tishthate khechari mudra tasmin sunye niranjane. The exact place where the tongue is put, it is a hole which is the meeting place of 5 nadis like Ida etc. Ida and 4 other nadis meet together. And it is the place which is the breeder of knowledge. It is the place which is devoid of all impurities. It is the exact place where the khechari mudra remains stable. If the tongue is put there, then khechari mudra remains stable. It is not unstable any further. Then again about the mystic Gomamsa and wine, it is described in hatha yoga pradipika but not found in Gheranda Samhita. The sloka is like this. Gomangsang bhakkhe nitya pivet amara varuning kulinang tamahang manye itare kulaghatakaha. Which means the yogi who regularly eats gomangsa and drinks the wine of gods is considered as the descendant of a good family. Others are the killers of their lineage. Here, the word Gomamsa Bhakshana and Amara Baruni, these are not permissible in our shastras, but this should not be taken in literal sense. Here the explanation about mystic Gomamsa is given. In another sloka, the explanation of the wine also is given. First, the explanation of Gomamsa. Go sabdeno dita jiva tat pravesho hitaluni Gomamsa bhakshanam tattu mahapataka nasanam. This is Hatha Yoga Pradipika. The meaning of the sloka is like this. The word Gomamsa, go means tongue. Insertion of the tongue into the palate is the eating of Gomamsa. So Gomamsa Bhakshana means to insert the tongue into the palate. That is called Gomamsa Bhakshana. Gomamsa Bhakshana means devouring one's own tongue, eating one's own tongue. That means inserting it into the palate. Then explanation of the divine wine. What is divine wine? Juha pravesa sambhuta vanhin utpadita khalu chandra savatija sara sasatam amravarune. Which means the liquid which oozes from the moon or the place in the head which comes through the palate. The liquid which oozes from the moon because of the heat produced by insertion of the tongue into the palate is called the wine of gods. So this is the explanation of the Amara Baruni or the divine wine. So like this, we have discussed about the technique of Gheranda Samhita, the technique of Khechari Mudra in Gheranda Samhita, why it should be done, and what is said in Hatha Yoga Pradipika, the similarities between Hatha Yoga Pradipika and Gheranda Samhita, then the dissimilarities between Hatha Yoga Pradipika and Gheranda Samhita. Thank you for listening to this lecture. If you have any question, you may write it in the comment box, and I shall be happy to answer your questions. Thank you.